Welcome to book club. This week, I found myself caught in that fear loop, that thing that we do to ourselves where we get scared and we just keep being scared of being scared. And I know that you know what I'm talking about. Your body tenses, your voice gets quiet, you can't speak, and suddenly you're managing that fear instead of living your life. And for me, it was something tiny, something so small. I'm going to share with you as we get into book club. And it could have ruined my whole day. I'm here in Las Vegas with my husband. It could have ruined my whole vacation. And I did not let it do that. So if you've ever felt like you're living more in fear of what might be happening as opposed to living your life, then you're not alone. I am doing that myself and I am practicing moving through that. And this week, when we read through the Untethered Soul, we're diving into how to stay open when that happens, when that fear loop happens. So if you are tired of fear calling the shots, I am, you're in the right place. Let's figure this out together. I am on camera. I record this thing. I then put it out to Zoom, not to Zoom, to YouTube. I'm all perplexed now because I was not recording. If you do not want to be recorded, you just simply do not speak and the camera will not pick you up. If you do want to be recorded, or if you feel free enough to ask me a question and show up on YouTube, then go ahead and ask me a question. If you don't want to ever show up on YouTube, you're like, Carrie, you're crazy. What are you talking about? Then put something in the chat, whatever your question is. I will try and notice it in the chat and I will try and answer you in the chat. All right, I'm going to have to go back and re-record that little bit that I didn't get, but it's all good. I will do it. It'll be good practice. Good practice, Carrie. Practicing re-saying my thing and editing. It's all good. Okay, so we're going to recap what we did last week. Last week, we talked about chapters 4 through 6. Chapter 4 was called The Lucid Self. And it's really just the awareness. I am aware that I am aware. So I am watching myself on screen right now. But I am not this awareness that is watching myself. I am back here watching myself watch myself. What? If we can, in all moments in time, remove ourselves from ourselves and get back there and look at ourselves from back here, we're going to become more free. So that's what he called the lucid self. We're not our thoughts, we're just aware of them. Chapter 5 was infinite energy. Energy is not lost, it's just blocked. And we have that infinite energy inside of us. It doesn't come from caffeine or anywhere else. It's already like our birthright inside of us. And the reason we don't feel it all the time is because we are blocked. So he talks about staying open. And then chapter 6 is about the secrets of the spiritual heart. And he talks about how those blockages are things he calls samskaras. That is, I believe, Indian term, Sanskrit term for them. It's just basically this little energy ball. It's a blockage. It's something that we keep, and that energy keeps circling around in there, and it's stuck. And that energy that is stuck in there, it gets hit, we feel it, we feel uncomfortable, we close our heart. When we close our heart, we can't feel that energy. So it's all about keeping the heart open. So is there some moment that you felt this week after kind of listening to chapter 4 through 6, or if you didn't listen, if you weren't even here last week, is there something that you were like, oh, wow, I went to close my heart over that. I can totally see that. And I'm thinking to myself right now, when I didn't record, I totally went into that. Oh, closing, closing, closing. I could feel it. And I just relaxed and somehow moved through it. So is there anything that you guys have? And if you didn't, we can move on to chapter 7. I also close when it's like that silence and I'm like, oh, is anybody going to talk? And then I just relax because it really doesn't matter if you guys talk or not. I'm going to keep talking. All right. Chapter 7, transcending the tendency to close. So he says that everything is energy. We all know this. And we're like, what? Like, how can this be energy? But it just is. We just kind of go with it. And if we think about how everything is energy, then our reaction isn't our reaction, it is also energy. And the way that we have evolved is that we used to get scared, let's say we're a deer or something, and we would get scared of the bear. And that meant our life was in danger and we had to run away. We had to survive. But now we are not that animal that has to run away. But because of the way we are built, we still feel that fear inside, when someone sees us and our hair is in place, we think, oh my God, what do they think about me? And we have that fear reaction and we close and we go to hide inside. And it's the same, running away from the bear and running and hiding inside because we get scared. It's the same thing. And maybe it was more balanced when we did have to be terrified of the bear or the lion or the tiger, lions and tigers and bears. But now it's out of whack because we have all these other ridiculous things that we're scared of that we don't need to be afraid of. Who cares what anyone thinks about my hair? Who cares? Yet I have this fear and I get scared and I go hide inside. So the impulse is still there to run, to hide, to close. And it's not, so this morning I went out, I'm challenging myself to not care what people think about me, which has been my challenge for quite some time. And I'm in a place where my husband makes coffee in the morning, but then he runs out to go do something and he never quite makes enough. So I need more coffee in the morning. And I am in a place where there's this fancy coffee machine up at the top floor. So I get up, I've got my jammies on, and instead of getting dressed and doing anything to this, I leave my front door in my jammies. I go out to the elevator. I go upstairs to get the fancy coffee and I'm in my jammies. So I'm challenging myself to not care what people think about me. And so I'm at the elevator bank. The elevator opens. There I am in my jammies. And these two people that are, they've clearly just come from the gym. They're like, it's early and they're on their way. And here I am still in my jammies wandering around on the elevator. So I am challenging myself to feel that, oh my God, they're judging me. And sure as shit, when the elevator door opens, I'm like that deer. And it's not socially acceptable for me to run, hide in the woods because there's somebody in the elevator that's going to see me. So I relax. I think to myself, it's not such a big deal. Maybe I won't ever see them again. Like I just do this exercise because the reward is in not protecting myself and in feeling that freedom of, okay, I didn't die. I didn't die because these wonderful people on the elevator saw me in my pajamas. So when he also talks about in this chapter that is something is going to capture our attention. So whatever it is, like the door opens and there's those people, that is what catches my attention. And my awareness goes to that, that whatever is loudest happening around us, he uses the example of like a hammer falling on our toe. Whatever's loudest, our awareness goes to that. Oh my God, my toe. hurts, my awareness goes to it. But we do not have to follow that awareness. We do not have to. It sounds insane. Why would I not immediately be focused on the toe that's now throbbing in pain? But we can say, yeah, it hit it. Okay, the elevator door's open. Those are those people. I don't have to go with that. Yeah, I might go for a second, but I can just relax, realize I'm not going to die because a hammer hit my toe. I'm not going to die because these people are seeing me, and I can relax and keep moving. And then also, we are not going to be able to do this. We are just not. When the elevator door opens and there are people, I'm going to go, shit, these people. So don't judge myself. Do not judge myself that my awareness went there. Do not judge myself that I'm focused on the toe. It's practice. It's just constant practice at getting better at this. And the more we build our muscle with the small things, the easier it is to tackle the more difficult stuff. All right, that is chapter 7, ladies. Did we find any? Did you hear anything in that? That was like a tiny moment that you were like, okay, wow, yeah, I can totally see how I did that this week, or I can play with this upcoming week to see if I can handle it, because I can. I'm not gonna die. Or do you have any questions around this chapter or the last couple chapters we've visited, or any questions to me about, Carrie, why are you running around in your jammies? Hi, Grace.
Hi. So when you said I didn't die, it reminded me of when I was deeply immersed in improvisation classes and with a wonderful teacher here who actually teaches like internationally, but take classes with her and we do an exercise. And that was the thing that she would say afterwards is like, and you didn't die.
Didn't die. I
So there's
know.
all this, she called it the fireball or snowball or something. It was like how to run ahead of the fear, right? Like the fear is going to be there, but just be running a little bit ahead of it. I'm not necessarily suggesting that. I'm just trying to remember the context.
Yeah.
But we would do these things and you just think, oh no, I can't do that. I can't think of something to say. Oh no. And then we'd do it and it was actually fun. And she'd be like, you didn't die. And it sounded so extreme, but then it's like, no, I was reacting like that,
Yeah.
like it just,
Always.
yeah.
Yeah. The fear takes over, and we're like, I'm gonna die. Like, it's the fear takes over. And whatever it is, I mean, there might be a few moments in your life that are that fearful that are
Oh
like,
yeah.
yeah, but typically what it is in our 24 hours a day, in our regular life, it is not something that we're going to die from. It is just not. And the way we react is like we are literally going to die. Those elevator doors open and my brain goes, "Ah," and it's so silly and stupid.
The other thing is when you were just kind of talking about the difference of what we're wired for, tigers, bears. Um, and it was interesting what you raised. Like, I don't know if it was in balance somehow more than, but what I do understand is that now it's constant. We're getting fired off constantly.
Yes.
And when I watch my cat, it's like she's on for a half an hour and then she sleeps for three. I mean, so deeply relaxed. I mean, the level of relaxation is incredible.
Right.
So I'm assuming that we had some version of that, or that there was two people standing watch and 10 people were sleeping, so there was time where we stopped and we weren't getting the same level of stimulus, and the things that were scary were actually dangerous.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. If we could live more like that cat, that would be awesome. Like we could be on and then we could be, just like take a 30-minute cat nap. Yeah. That would be awesome. I love that idea. All right, let's move on to chapter 8. Chapter 8 is called Let Go Now or Fall. And the big message in this chapter is that when we notice something that happens, if we can, in that moment, remind ourselves to relax. Okay, I noticed it. Okay, I'm going to relax. If we can notice it in that moment, instead of getting all worked up about it and trying to control it, we are going to be better off, because what happens is if we can relax in that moment, it'll go away faster. We won't hold on to that samskara, that little energy ball, and we won't make a bigger deal out of it. And if we do, and we won't be able to, like, we just don't won't. So it's just, again, don't judge yourselves, don't judge myself. When I'm thinking specifically about something that happened. I had a falling out with a girlfriend. She decided she was pissed at me for whatever reason. And instead of being like, okay, she's pissed at me, and trying to, say, of course, I tried to find my responsibility in it so I could, rectify the situation, but whatever, it just never came to fruition. Instead of saying, okay, like, we've had a falling out, it'll come back together somehow, I'm not going to get all into it. I could not do that. I then had to talk to other girlfriends. I had to say, what do you think happened here? What went wrong? How could I rectify this? What did I do? I made a much bigger deal out of it. And I can see now that if I had just said to myself, okay, relax, Carrie, these things happen. I don't know why. I tried my hardest in that moment. It's all gonna somehow work out. I made a much bigger deal out of it. And not only did I make a bigger deal out of it for myself, I involved other people. Do we not have better things to do with our lives? We do. We do. So that's the big message from this one. Let go right now. So he said something in this chapter. He said that we're fighting with creation. We're trying to control life instead of just letting it happen. And that is what we try and do. It's so uncomfortable. We have no control. And we try and find some semblance of control. Can I talk to another girlfriend? Can she make me feel better? We try and find it out there. And if we can say, Carrie, you've got no control over this. Relax, relax. Oh, it's so uncomfortable. If we can do that, the more we do that, the faster we do that, the faster we're going to be free of it. And he also says that fear is caused by that blocked energy and not by life. And it's the root of all prejudices, all judgments, everything we have. And it's like running at all times. And I'm going to give you the little thing that happened with my husband. The little stupid thing that I start to feel. We're on vacation, we rent a car, and somehow I'm always the one that picks up the car, which means I'm always the one that drives the car off the lot. And as soon as we get in the car, I'm trying to, fix the phone. They're all fancy now, attaching Bluetooth, whatever. But without the phone, without the map talking to me, like, how am I going to figure out where I'm going? And he's like, you don't need to worry about your phone, watch out, this driver's looking. And in the past, I would try and control myself so that I didn't hit him, so that he would stop talking back to me about whatever's disturbing him. And I can hear, when he starts talking to me about this other driver, I can hear myself the fear starts in me. And the way that I handle it is I just relax. And I don't try to then contain it within myself so that I don't hit anything in him. So it's just a whole other different way of being. The other thing I do is I enlist a Kasha tool. So that's the other book we read in book club, A Woman's Guide to Power. And she has this tool of asking questions that is so, so brilliant. And as soon as he starts his, well, there's a driver coming from over here, or stop looking at your phone, or, oh my God, I can tell you where to go. Like, you don't have to hook the phone up. I say, and this is after I kind of calm myself down, because I say to him, baby, do you want to drive? So we can all hear how if I'm activated, I could be like, dude, do you want to drive? Like, leave me alone. It has a completely different way of landing with him than of me relaxing and being centered and being like, oh, baby, like this is a great opportunity if you would want to drive. And even adding a little humor, like it still has a little spice. You can all hear it. It still has a little spice in it. But oh man, I try and relax. I try and relax so that it doesn't have that grip in it, because his reaction is going to be totally different. And it's going to cause us to go a whole different way. So I opened this whole thing by saying, look, we all have that fear. And if we can relax through it, even a tiny thing like driving, which is not so tiny, like we're in charge of a big vehicle, like it's not so tiny, but it is, we are probably not gonna hopefully die in that situation. I mean, we could, but we're probably not going to. And if we can just relax instead of feeling that fear and making it more fearful. Like if I were to contain myself to not affect him, it becomes this bigger thing. And then I'm holding on to it. And then it's ruined my day. It might have ruined our whole vacation. So that's the secret. I mean, it sounds so simple to just relax through it, and it's not easy. But if you practice with this little stuff, it gets easier. Okay. That is the end of chapter 8. So let go now, immediately when we feel it, instead of making it into this much bigger thing. Do you guys have any questions, any ahas, anything that you can think of? Like, oh my God, driving, it's the perfect opportunity. So perfect. You come up to a red light and I don't want this light to be red. And you just relax through it. It's, life will just let you practice that stuff. All right, we're going to move on to chapter 9. Chapter 9 is removing your inner thorn. So Michael Singer says that imagine we have a thorn inside of us and it's causing us pain. And we have two choices. One is we can live with that thorn and we can do everything outside of our life to make sure that thorn never gets hit. Or we can remove that thorn. And I know you guys know where this is going. The one choice that he is always going to tell us to do is to remove the thorn. So, okay, yeah, let's remove the thorn. If we don't remove the thorn, we are going to be in a situation where we are building our life to accommodate that thorn. So he goes into this big explanation of, yes, if we have that thorn, and we have to walk out in life and we're walking through branches or whatever, the branches are going to hit the thorn. We're going to be in pain. So we have to thin out the branches. We have to we have to thin out the area so that these things are not going to hit the thorn. Okay, if we can't sleep because we can't roll over, and if we roll over, something's going to hit that thorn. We create this apparatus so we don't roll over. We put pillows there so we don't roll over. It's like we're creating things in our outside life, and we think that we have, okay, yeah, I've thinned out the branches. I can get through now. Or I've created this thing so I don't roll in my sleep. My life is okay. What if we meet somebody and then can't, we want to hug them, and hugging them creates this opportunity for pain because it's hitting our thorn. Okay, now I'm going to build like this hydraulic apparatus that's going to allow me to touch this other person so that I don't feel that pain of that thorn. And it just goes on and on and on. So what happens is that that thorn that we thought we were keeping from getting hit, and we thought we have it under control, we have everything under control, that thorn is actually running our life. So, I mean, what other opportunity do we need than to just get rid of it? And it goes for anything that we're holding on to, anything. So, okay, like when I heard this, I was like, okay, I'm going to run towards all that stuff, all those thorns. And I don't recommend we do that either, because that it's just life is going to bring it up. Like life is lifing, and all the things that come at us are going to just bring up the natural things that have to happen. Running towards it to make it happen is not advisable. Not advisable. All right, what else did I have about this chapter? Remove the thorn. Yes. And that moment that where my girlfriend, and if I can look at it this way, like something happened and it touched something inside me and it was so affected. Like that is the opportunity for that. That is a thorn inside me that is ready to leave, that is ready to go. And if I can look at it that way, then I can be in such deep gratitude for her. Like she hit something that is ready to let go. Like it hit it. It caused me pain. That pain is ready to let go. And if I can relax, it's like, wow, thank you. Like if I can look at it that way, thank you. It's amazing. So that is the end of chapter 8. Yes, Carrie. Carrie spelled the correct.
It reminds me of, I mean, sure, it's the same as a thorn, but you know how when you get the teeniest little splinter, right? And then it beds in there, and and then the skin sometimes, or even like a piece of glass, right? And then the skin starts to like grow over the top of it. I mean,
Yeah,
it's like a good physical now, and then back to the thorn, but we can really physically like take ourselves there. And what it is, and the reason why it hurts is because the body is saying, this doesn't belong here.
yeah,
Just because it's inside me,
yeah.
it doesn't belong here. So I'm going to give you an indicator that it's not supposed to be here.
Right, right, right.
Right? So it's the same. It's,
Yeah,
our body's telling us,
right.
or our emotions telling us that doesn't belong here. So you're going to suffer a little
Yeah,
bit. And the
yeah,
suffering is there only as an indicator that this is not part of my wholeness.
yeah. I love that. I love that bringing it back to, okay, the body has this natural way of getting rid of this stuff. Like, who knew that because I felt a pain, it meant that something was trying to release, something was trying to purify something. Like it's a natural way of my body, just like I would try and get rid of a disease. It's the body is trying to purify like all the time, and life is bringing us something that is going to show us exactly that thing that needs to come out. It's so beautiful when you can start to look at it that way. I forget it all the time.
Well, and because in its natural state, there's comfort and there's peace, right? I mean, in its natural state, that's what it is. I mean, we're in flux all the time,
Yes.
but I mean, but in reality, that's what the natural state is.
Yeah.
So anything beyond that are indicators, like messages, like, oh, little off, little, seesawy.
Yeah. Yeah. I love thinking about it that way. Okay, let's see what's in the chat for us. Yeah, I was laughing too, Grace. And yes, our partners give us so many opportunities. If we could see it that way, it's like so awesome. It's so hard to see it that way all the time. But if we can, and our friends, like our partners, our friends, anyone, like the person at Starbucks, just quite literally anyone in our life that we run into that is hitting our stuff, any situation in our life that is hitting our stuff is an opportunity to grow. Yeah. And then humor and gratitude takes us so far. I agree. Humor is so perfect. Sometimes I use it a little too much. Like sometimes it's a little bit of a defensive thing, but oh, it's so good. All right, that's what is in the chat. And my final reflection that I wrote down. And today was kind of a short one, but I'll have to go back and re-record that last bit. But is there anything that you're kind of taking away from today that you can think, oh yeah, I was in total fear of that, or I know that this is a constant thing that I'm scared of all the time, and I can play with that. Like that can be something that I can play with because that fear is not a natural thing anymore. It is probably just something that we have taken from the lions and tigers and bears and is just running our life based on something that's not there anymore. And it's an outward uh, uh, manifestation of something that we don't have to really be scared of. Like what somebody thinks about me is not really something that I have to be scared of at the level that I am. I would love to feel like I never have to feel that anymore, ever. And maybe someday I will get to that point. Like my fingers are crossed that I'm going to get there. Okay, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to get there. I'm going to get to that point where I don't care what anyone thinks about how I look. Oh, it feels so impossible, but let's go. Like, is there anything that you can think of that is something that you want to play with? Yes, Carrie, what?
I think I think we are there. It's just,
I am not.
so that's the biggest lie, right? It's like, I'm gonna get there. It's like, no, we're
Yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah.
And then the conditioning is the thing that kind of like, the sun's always there if the
Right,
clouds go in front of it, kind of.
right, right.
We're there.
Yeah,
We're there.
yeah, yeah. There is nowhere to get. Yeah,
There's
you're right.
nowhere to get. And it's like, and there's such freedom in that. Like there's really like nothing wrong, but I know exactly what you're saying. But then
Yeah,
if you really think about it,
yeah.
like let's say babies, they're not embarrassed.
No,
Not
no,
at all. The
no.
only time they do get embarrassed is that eventually they get older and then they
Yeah,
start to see the people around
right,
making these faces. And then
right,
there's this social construct of like what's acceptable, what's not acceptable.
right,
But they're inherently like, I'm YOLO. Like I'm just I'm doing my thing.
right, right. Yeah,
I
I
don't know.
love that. I constantly am trying to remind myself of like my 5-year-old self, like what would she do? And she would be running around not caring. Like who
She
cares?
might even be picking her nose while she's in her jammies and she
And
doesn't
farting.
give a fuck.
Yeah, my
All
husband's
the things.
he's not
All
going to go
the
anywhere with
things.
me. Yes.
I
We're
liked,
there. We're
Carrie,
already
what
there.
you said about, the sun is always there behind the clouds. So it's not ignoring that there's clouds there, but the sun is there. That's the main thing. And that was my reflection through this today too, is I just was pondering like just removing the concept of, I don't mean like remove it, but like releasing the concept of practice. That you have to practice something, practice the little things to get better at the big things. Like, what if we're just where we are, doing what we're doing, and this is where it's at right now,
Yeah.
and then expanding that with Carrie's like, and the sun is behind this particular cloud, and the cloud passes. Because
And
I feel like I've been a big practicer in my life, so I'm speaking from this is not pointing fingers,
yes,
or
no.
that's not the three fingers pointing back at yourself or whatever. Um, that if I just let like that's part of the lie. That's part of the conditioning is that I've got to practice and get better and get to some place that I'm not now yet.
Yeah.
It's like And
Yeah.
I feel in, to reflect to you, I feel like you show up, you show up with vibrancy, energy, humor, insight. Like what's there, there's nothing missing there, you know? And you're sharing it. You're sharing it on YouTube, and you're even getting some of us non-YouTube type people to actually look.
Exactly.
I'm gonna turn on my camera and say
Right,
something
right.
else.
Oh, well, okay. I'll do it. Okay, Carrie, you talk me into it. Yeah, I totally feel that, Grace. And I love the thought that life is going to give us whatever opportunity. It doesn't have to be practice, but I love the idea that I can like go do some things like that are
Hmm.
actually going to like help me remove some of it. And I love the idea of, I don't know, it seems so like daunting to me. It does seem daunting to me to not care at all what people think about me. So I love to think of it in terms of practice, like, oh, maybe there's a little thing I can do. Like I can go out my door and in my jammies. Like it's like a game almost to me.
Yeah.
And I also I love that idea. Like, no, we don't have to practice. Like it doesn't have to be a practice where we're always doing something and we have to be, getting somewhere. Like that's so beautiful as well. I love that.
I think the thing that filled in for me when I mean, this is all still happening. It's all completely
No,
still
it's
happening.
always
But it's like, I just think, oh, it's an experiment. Like what you're saying. I'm gonna try this, see if I die. I didn't. Wow. But it doesn't have to be to get anywhere. And then also, like, who is it that says that you have to not ever care at all? Like, what if you just care less?
yeah,
Less often, less deeply, less whatever, and
yeah,
just go, oh, for some reason I'm caring more today. That's interesting, you
right.
know?
Notice it. Yeah. I I always come back to it's about growing, like it's about growth. That's why I'm here. If I'm here to be stagnant, then what is the point? So yeah, I'm just always come back to that. And that keeps me growing and practicing and moving and how could this be better? How could I be less concerned about whether I fart in public or not? Like it's always comes back to that.
The word that comes up to my in mind for me is evolving.
Yeah,
That you're evolving into something, not necessarily better, just that you're, you know, evolving.
right. It's a constant. Yeah. All right, ladies. That is chapters, what was it, 7 through 9 today on Independence Day, where we are going to be free from all of this that's happening in our heads. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for taking yourselves on. Thank you for helping me take myself on. And I will see you next week. Bye.